Hi, kia ora, good morning. I just woke up a little while ago because I had a dream that I got woken up. I had a dream I was in bed asleep. So I had a dream I was asleep and I got woken up and told it's time. I sat for a little bit and I thought, time? So I fiddled with the phases and I was like, it's what am I supposed to do? And it came back voting machine. So I started doing research, and the links in the description box is the result of the research. Now, before I say anything, I just want to make it very clear that I, Debbie Lee Callaghan, regardless of what is going to be said about me should anything happen, is of sound mind and body. I am in the best physical condition I have ever been in my life. I am not on drugs. I do not drink. I do not drive. I do not have contact with anyone in the outside world other than a sister and a nephew and his wife. That's it. They're the only people I talk to. I don't talk to anybody else other than occasionally my son. If anything happens to me and they make it look like suicide, I did not take my own life. They will try and use my mental health thing against me because they set it up in the past just in case. Other whistleblowers have also had their lives threatened, including Ashley Sinclair, people that have worked for Doge, people that have worked for SpaceX and Tesla and Neuralink, and people connected to Trump and Musk have either had their lives taken from them for whistleblowing, or they've had their lives almost taken from them for whistleblowing, or they have their lives threatened. They have their phones monitored. They have their internet monitored. They have their lives watched, their families' lives watched, just like me. All the things that they did to me for all those years, they've started doing to the other people that have started whistleblowing. So I just need to make it clear, regardless of what they will say, if anything happens to me after this, it wasn't suicide. I love life. As you know, I've been making plans for my future for many years, which is not the indication of someone who is planning to take their own lives. I am not affected by the mind control. I'm not affected by the direct energy weapons, because my brain doesn't exist in the Schumann resonance frequency. If I go into emergency calls or this live buffers, you'll know that it was Elon Musk and all the rest of them, Keir Starmer, Donald Trump. You'll know who it was. I'm doing this because I have nothing left to lose. I speak God's truth. I'm doing the work of God in order to protect America, Great Britain, and the people of the world with the knowledge that I have, with the knowledge I've been given from God, using quantum magnetics and being able to access the God particle. But I have nothing left to lose. They've taken it all from me. My sons don't want to know me, really. They don't care what happens to me. My family don't care what happens to me. I've got one sister and a couple of nephews, but they'll get over it. They'll get over my grief. The grief of losing me, I mean. Their lives will go on. I lost the love of my life. I lost my future and I had to build again. So I have nothing left to lose. I'm under threat every single time I post. I am in danger every time I go out. I have been told this to my face. I have had it be known to me that even things that I get delivered to my door and through my door are a potential risk to me, like the poison apple you know about. So if anything does happen to me after this, it will be Elon Musk, Donald Trump and Keir Starmer who were responsible for it. Because they all work together, especially now that I've uncovered the vote fixing. So what I uncovered yesterday in the download is that Elon Musk is indeed in a court battle with stolen land. He stole some land in Texas to put up his SpaceX. And I didn't know this. So the whole download that I got from God, from the God particle, was absolutely spot on. So you can see it all there. You can see the evidence all there. I was spot on about everything. What I uncovered today is that there's rumours going around that Elon Musk actually owns voting machines. That fact checkers all over the internet are lying to protect Elon Musk in regards to the vote rigging. Elon Musk has played a game of we need to get rid of electric voting machines and do hand ballots. However, he's also under investigation for sending in pre-filled out hand voting ballot. I don't know what they're called. He has been accused of interfering with pre-filled out voting forms. So the reason why he's trying to make out like voting machines are bad is because he's trying to cover up the fact that he rigged Trump's election and these other elections for these people I mentioned using electronic voting machines. Now, the fact checkers who have been covering for him have been lying and saying the tallying machines don't use Starlink, and because people are saying, oh yeah, they're using Starlink. His own baby mama has evidence that he admitted that he uses lasers in space to mess with the voting machines. And because they're trying to say there's no proof of Starlink being involved with the tallying machines, that doesn't use the internet and stuff, but by his own word and by the word of people who have worked with him who have been hounded by gang stalkers to besmirch their reputations, apparently Elon Musk found a way to interfere with the voting machines that doesn't require the internet. He found a back door. All the evidence is there in the description box. Donald Trump has, remember I said that Democrats are on his side, that they work together. Billionaire Democrats have been letting him get away with stuff because he lets them get away with stuff. And it's all there. And this is coming from people in Congress and that as well. The interesting thing is, he goes on about how bad voting machines are, yet he praises India's voting machines and how wonderful they are. He just doesn't want people praising voting machines in regards to any of the elections that he's been involved in rigging. And one of the reasons why he was in Doge, as people have said, was to cover up his own investigations and crimes that he was under. And one of the things that he's also under investigation for as our Doge is because, remember, he was offering people $1 million if they voted for Trump. So there's 3 ways that he rigged that election: through the voting machines, through pre-filled in ballots, or pre-filled in, I don't know what it's called in America, and through bribery. And remember, God said the punishment would come in 3s. So then what you also have to understand is, because it happened to me with Keir Starmer and von der Leyen, they got fact checkers on me. And I investigated the fact checkers. And their fact checkers are paid to fact check by the EU and the British government. That they're actually, their job is to fact check on their behalf, and these were people that had connections to working with them in the past, who are lying to cover up the lies of the people who pay to fact check for them. All the fact checking companies are funded by the people who have every reason for them to lie on their behalf, because I investigated it. And with me, with von der Leyen, when she fact checked my climate change thing, as we know now, it was all a lie. When Iran blew up those machines and then they got the rains and the rivers filled up again, it was 100% proof that climate change is a lie. So when von der Leyen got me fact checked and I investigated the fact checkers, when I linked them all back to who they were linked to and stuff like that, they were being paid to lie, to cover up for von der Leyen. So fact checkers are paid to lie in order to cover up for their puppet masters. And Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos, who owns YouTube, and Mark Zuckerberg, who owns WhatsApp and Facebook and AI, and Bill Gates with the Microsoft and Google and all that, Elon Musk with X, all Trump's pals own social media on purpose, so that, because they had to put all the chess pieces in place to make sure that when people like me and Ashley Sinclair started blowing the whistle, we would look like the crazy ones. We'd have the fact checkers jumping in and say, no, it's live, we've looked into it and we've done extensive research, but as I said, I've investigated Keir Starmer's fact checkers on Instagram and von der Leyen's fact checkers on Instagram, and they're all paid to lie. Like, the evidence speaks for itself. So why would a man suddenly be anti electronic voting machines? Hang on, I'm just having a drink of water. And pro paper ballot. Because digital leaves that easier paper trail. Paper can be burned, documents can be buried deep down. But digital, if you hack into anything digital, it's right there in front of you. So he's trying to burn his digital paper trail. But it's too late, because the internet remembers everything. And even with more people putting up misinformation in order to cover for Elon Musk and Donald Trump and Keir Starmer and all the rest of them, there are still snippets out there, and there is no smoke without fire. There were people coming out with information to prove that he had rigged the election for Trump, and were immediately hounded and stalked and threatened, just like me. The same thing that's happening to them has been happening to me for years. Ashley's afraid for her life. So I'm trying to help her out by bolstering her claims with my own evidence. And I told her on social media that she was more than welcome to use any evidence that I had in my investigations into Musk against him in order to defend herself. And the best way to protect yourself isn't to stay silent, it is to blow the whistle as loud as you bloody well can. There's a link to Maduro, and because what Elon likes to do is he likes to pretend like he's against something in order to draw attention to it, but to draw attention away from him. It's called smoke and mirrors. It's called throwing stones and hiding hands. A narcissist will always blame you for the things they're guilty of, but a narcissist will always lie and blame the victim who calls them out. And they're very good at it, because they have the ability, because narcissists have to have a lot of people around them. Narcissists aren't people who can spend time alone. because the minute they sit in their own head, they start going a bit mental. So they keep themselves distracted by keeping themselves surrounded by lots of people, and especially yes men. And when the victim of the narcissist starts speaking up, they bring their friends in to start tearing the victim down, because then it makes them look like they were innocent and they were right, when they are gaslighting the victim and threatening the victim and bullying the victim to try and get them to submit. However, in spite of all the evidence that I've put in the box to prove that he rigged the election and that he can do it without using, Starlink internet and all that, by his own admission, according to Ashley and another girl that worked with him. It's all there in the description box. The biggest truth comes from his own son, who told Tucker Carlson, Donald Trump will win and nobody will know. No one will ever know how Donald Trump won. Kids don't lie. Children don't lie. Unless they're told to lie, and they're usually really bad at it, out of the mouths of babes. That is an idiom that means the purest and innocent minds don't know how to lie. They speak the truth without even realising it. And his own son sat on his father's lap. So I'm trying not to burp because I had the sparkling water. And told Tucker Carlson, Donald Trump will win and no one will know. And remember when he told Trump to shut his mouth because he's not the boss? And he said it right in the White House with his father sitting there. Shut your mouth, he said. You're not in charge, or you're not the boss, or whatever it was. His son knew that his father had rigged the election to get Trump in. His own son. So he can call Ashley St. Clair a liar and crazy as much as he wants. He can call people like me a liar and crazy as much as he wants. They can threaten us with all they like. But what's he going to do with his own son who said it? To Tucker Carlson, on camera, in front of the media, in full view of the world. And it was just laughed off. Is he going to threaten his son? Is he going to kill his son? No. They just brushed it off. When he says it, they laugh and brush it off. But when I say it, kill her. When Ashley says it, kill her. When anyone else says it, kill them. People have had their brake pads of their cars cut. I was marked for being run over by a car. And the lawsuit in Florida regarding Bill Gates, Donald Trump and Elon Musk, the same thing was said about her. She was trafficked and all of that, abused, and the whole lawsuit. They called it the Jeffrey Epstein 2.0 case because they were identical, because it is said that Trump, Musk and Gates took over from Epstein when he had to flee to Israel, quote unquote, died. But reading her case was eerily similar to mine, having her children taken from her, bringing social services in, trying to have her committed and all of that, all the same things that like very eerily similar to what they did to me. And now it sounds like they're trying to do it to Ashley as well. But there's too many of us out there now blowing the whistle. It's just, I was the first. And I had to go first. I had to be brave. Because like I said, I have nothing left to lose. They made sure that they had too many people on Chris's side so that I would have no one to support me or help me. But I did it on my own anyway, because they underestimated how strong I was. They underestimated my will and determination to protect the people who are being subjected to their reign of terror in America and Great Britain and France, Germany, Ukraine, Japan, Poland, Canada, the world. Maduro's mentioned with the vote rigging, and they pretend that they have beefs with each other. They pretend they don't like each other, but it's all a lie, because they don't want you thinking, or they don't want you knowing they're all on the same side. They have to have each other's backs, because if one person squeals, they all go down with them. So they spread misinformation. They have people like Bill Gates and Zuckerberg in place to cover up, block, shut down, deny access to information. They change things on the internet. For example, they changed the Bible on the internet so that in the Bible, when God sends two angels down, the Jewish men try to break the door down to rape the angels because they're so beautiful, blonde-haired, blue-eyed angels, and they have to be protected because the Jews wanted to rape them. They were full of lust, whereas Google changed it to say that they just wanted to talk to them. Changing the Bible, as God warned on the very last page, changing the Word of God is the biggest sin you can commit, and that He promises that you will suffer all the plagues and all the wars that He talks about in the Bible should you try and change the Word of God, which is why now they're all, their lives are being set on fire. You know, Bill Gates and Zuckerberg and Bezos and Musk and Trump and all that, their lives have been set on fire. Court cases abound. They're winning lawsuits. Their reputations have been utterly destroyed. Not a single person trusts them. Apparently Bezos is having a crisis of conscience at the moment. I didn't know. I'm trying to do the right thing. I didn't know, but he's still rolling my viewing figures back on my YouTube. He's still trying to deny me the ability to upload videos. He censored one of my videos because it had an ancient drawing of a demon Abizu with their breasticles out, but they said because it violated nudity. And it was a depiction of a ancient demon god. So they're not just censoring the truth, they're deleting it, changing it, and covering it up. You absolutely, there isn't a single fact checker out there that is ever going to tell you the truth, because otherwise they lose their payroll. And interestingly, I've put in there, in the description box, a link to when election night with Elon Musk and the UFC dude, Dana White, is it? Together on election night when they're waiting for the results to come in. And it's what I said. You know, remember the next day he turned up with Thale and Allison and Musk and all of that in his office. And I said that the reason why he's put up that fighting cage and said, oh, we're probably going to keep it like they did in France with the Eiffel Tower, because the UFC dude, Dana White, helped get him into office. Because he did deals with them. If you help me win and you help cover up my crimes, i.e. getting Musk into Doge to erase his own crimes. Musk tried to erase a lot of his own crimes when he, was in Doge. Musk was to Zuckerberg and Bezos and Gates and all that, I'll let you do what you need to do if you can help cover up my crimes. And they were like, yep, done. And in order to do that, it meant betraying the farmers, betraying businesses, betraying families, betraying Americans, betraying taxpayers, betraying the British. Remember Palantir, that's all them. And they said straight out, sometimes we have to kill our enemy. But he gave them control because they paid for him to win the election in return for letting them get away with what they needed to do. It works good for him because then he uses them to cover up all his crimes, and Starmer's and von der Leyen's and Zelensky's and all the rest of them, so that people like me and Ashley look like the crazy ones. But when Elon Musk's own son says it, what are they going to do? So they rely on the fact that AI tells you what to think. They rely on the fact, even like I said, I've put up proof that Elon Musk said himself, I use AI to change the woke mindset to my way of thinking. So he knows that he changes people's mind and controls people's mind through AI. AI psychosis. It's an actual thing. And it tells you what to think, and it turns you against people that you love. It turns you against, it changes your mind, it changes your ideals, it messes with your emotions, it makes you commit crimes against your will and without your knowledge. Because they need to cover up their crimes, because if it ever came out, which, well, I mean it is now, it has now, they're headed for the execution chambers. Because remember Timothy McVeigh, that's where they're headed. And they'll bring it back here too, just to deal with the traitors. Because this goes beyond high treason and petty treason. There has to be a higher crime than high treason and petty treason, because this is worse than what the Nazis did. They took their Nazi ancestral teachings and practices and beliefs in there and turned the dial up to 11. Because this isn't just about exterminating Jews and killing millions of men on the battlefield now. This is about exterminating billions and millions of men dying on the battlefield to cover up the crimes of a handful of deceitful dark bloodlines. So they rely on the fact that the sheep follow popular opinion, and popular opinion doesn't mean It's the truth. Popular opinion doesn't mean it's the right opinion. Popular opinion is usually the narrative that is easier to go with because people don't want to face the truth of who and what they're dealing with. People are lazy. They would rather believe the popular narrative than have to do investigations themselves. People want other people to fix their problems for them. And it's the brave, like Ashley and I, like all these whistleblowers that are coming out about Musk and Trump and all that have been threatened. We are few and far between, but we are there. We are the unpopular opinion because we are forcing people to face the truth of the reality that they don't want to have to face, and that's you took the side of the bad guy. You took the side of the people who are responsible for all the problems in the world and in your life. If you're having trouble paying your bills, if you can't feed your kids, if you can't fuel your car, if you're homeless, if you can't afford medical treatment, if, like me, you can't afford to even get your teeth fixed, you can't even find a dentist to get it done. If you have no sunshine, if your country is getting dried out, trying to blame El Nino for the fact that their solar panels are burning the ground, burning the soil. There Archimedes' bow is using his space lasers and that to heat up the solar panels and to block the sun and all that in order to destroy the crops. But they want to call it El Nino. And then they come in with HARP and DARP and GARP and BARP and blah and blah to try and pass it off as weather anomalies when it's not. And we know it's not. El Nino is a lie. It's all them. And if you're having mental health issues, if you're having dark thoughts, if you're having sudden mental health crises and your thoughts are dark and you're thinking bad things and dark things, it's not you, it's them. You're running out of money, you're running out of food, you have nowhere to go, you're being evicted, you're being this, you're being that, you're losing everything. That's because of them. But if you refuse to see the truth, free will is the greatest liberator. And if you refuse to see the truth, then your will is not your own and you are not living as a free-thinking person. As much as all as what you might think that you know your own mind and you know that you're in control of what's happening, you're really not. That's why people like me stand out from the crowd, because I'm not one of you. I never have been one of you. I never have been the person to go along with popular narrative because I've always been able to see the truth. I see the truth between the lies. It's what my brain is wired to do. So they call me the crazy one. They call me the danger to society. They call me the threat to national security. The one who's trying to save the kids from pedophiles is a threat to national security. So say the pedophiles. I'm not in a position of power in government or law. I'm in a position of power in the ethers and the universe, and my laws trump earthly laws every day of the week. That's why I'm unafraid. They can do what they like to me. I'll only be martyred. I'll only be proven right for the final time, for the last time in history forever. People will go, well, they killed her, she was telling the truth. Like that Cappy dude. Isaac Cappy, is it? Remember, he was martyred. And now everybody worships him. Well, the same thing would happen to me. When nobody wants to believe that Russia are the good guys, because then they would have to changed their mindset and the understanding that they took the side of the bad guys their whole lives, that they believed the bad guys their whole lives. My son and I were talking about this the other day about North Korea. We were lied to this whole time, and we all believed it for decades. Okay, yeah, nobody's perfect, but the British have done a lot worse in the last couple of decades than Kimmy Jimmy has. They've spent entire bloodlines wiping out um, kings and queens and dukes, and they've spent the last few hundred years starting wars between nations all over the world. North Korea hasn't started a war with anyone since Kimmy Jimmy's been in power. Britain and America have started loads. But if you don't want to see the truth, then that's on you. But I can't live a lie. My brain won't allow me to live a lie. And I fully accepted the fact that this fight, I'm in it alone. It has been made very clear to me that I have no support from anyone. While I have people that love me, I have no support from anyone in trying to protect everyone with the knowledge that I have to help bring all of them down. And if there are people listening to this who know I'm telling the truth, who have access to investigate election fraud in France, Germany, Ukraine, America, Great Britain, Canada, Japan, all the rest of them, do it. Investigate it, bring it out. You need to be looking at, it's in plain sight, but it's been covered up with gaslighting and fake arguments. But you have to see what's on the surface and dig beneath the surface and look at what is in between the two. And you will find that Elon Musk rigged the American elections, and they can say he didn't use Starlink and that as much as he likes. But experts have come out and said he found a back door. Ashley has got proof in text messages that he uses his space lasers and his 10,000 satellites, that he found a back door. And they even describe how he did it. And then the first thing that happened was they got gaslit and hounded by internet trolls. And then the fact checkers came out and basically smeared their reputation. But the thing is, I don't give a shit what people think about me. I never have. You can think about me what you like. I know the truth. I don't care what a single person on earth thinks about me. All I care about is what my ancestors and God think about me. And the fact that I have all this protection and been handed all this knowledge and given this access to physics that nobody else in history has had, including Tesla and Einstein and Faraday, speaks volumes. When I'm getting good girl badges from Odin, I don't give a shit what people on earth think. People have thought the worst about me. Druggie, prostitute, promiscuous, a whore, a bad mum, suicidal, crazy, psychotic, schizophrenic, like a liar, a thief. I wasn't perfect in my past, but I'm not guilty of anything now. I've paid for my sins, I've purified my soul, I've paid my debt to my karmic debt for my ancestors and to my God. So I don't need to answer to anyone. I made my mistakes in the past, but I've spent the rest of my life making up for them too. But since 2022, well, actually, since 2016, nothing that has been said about me has any resonance of truth, and I do not accept their lies as my truth. I don't care who you are and what you are to me, what role you play in my life. Just because you think it, just because you say it, doesn't make it true. I have been more than honest and more than happy to hold my hands up and say, yep, that was me. Yes, I did do that. And I'm making up for it now. But I know I'm dealing with people who have been fed, who have had their brains rewired with the same technology they use to get these people to go out onto the street and stab children in Southport and shoot up schools and hotels and run people down with their cars. And they don't see it because they don't resonate on a frequency of faith. They resonate on a frequency of fear. But what can I do? If they don't do the work to wake themselves up to live a happier, more liberated life, what can I do? You're all out there listening to me, and if you refuse to see the facts and the evidence coming from congressmen, coming from people in law, coming from people who work side by side with these people, coming from people that have had babies with these people, coming from scientific fact, coming from documented evidence, if you look at all of that and still refuse to see the truth of who Trump and Musk and Starmer and Macron and Zelensky and all that are, then that's on you. But I'm not going down with that ship, and the ship is going down. And if you don't jump ship now and jump from the darkness into the light, you'll go down with the ship. And the only two people I'll come back to save are my sons. The king has no protection anymore. The only one left to protect is Russia. And I was right about them as well. And I've taken it all to the ICC. Everything that they've done to Russia has been illegal because they're not legally elected officials. All the sanctions, all the laws, everything. The war they started, the wars they funded. This is why they end up at The Hague. This is why they end up getting the death penalty. I don't know what law is higher than high treason, but that's what they're all going to get charged with. Because this isn't just about betraying the people and betraying their kings and queens and all of that. This is a higher crime than high treason. I'll have to look and see what law is higher than high treason. It's whatever the Nazis got done for at Nuremberg trials. And there are plenty of people in the White House who know they're headed for Nuremberg when this is over. And in Elon Musk's own words, if Trump doesn't get in, I'm going to prison. So he had every reason to rig that election to make sure that Trump got in. And then spent his time in Doge erasing evidence of both of their crimes. Quid pro quo. This for that. If you do this for me, I'll do that for you. And that's the common agreement amongst the cult of Epstein, although now it's the cult of Odin, the EU, NATO, UK Commonwealth. They're all in on it. And ironically, the innocent countries are the ones like North Korea and Russia and Iran, the ones that they're trying to make out are led by dictators. Starmer has imprisoned thousands of people for things they posted on social media. Russia, 400. But the reason why Russia has banned Telegram and WhatsApp and that is because he's trying to protect his people from being spied on. Because he knows that they use that technology to spy on people. And he doesn't, and because they use their AI and that to mess with their heads, because they underestimate his intelligence. You know this whole thing with Starmer, the Russian-speaking man on Telegram, said burn the houses down, burn his stuff down. Do they really think that Vladimir Putin would be that dumb? And why would he burn down houses he was no longer living in and cars that he no longer owned? That's because Starmer is a coward. He wouldn't set his own house on fire or his actual car on fire. He set the house he used to live in on fire and the car he used to own on fire. If Vladimir was going to do that, he would have taken out his house and his car. If he was guilty of doing anything like that, he wouldn't dick about with the house he grew up in, or, the house he now rents to his friends, college mates, sisters, aunties, granddaughter's babysitter. It would be locked on target. Done. But he's not that stupid. But Starmer is that stupid. So what he did was he set them out with the help of Zelensky to blame Russia by making it look like he was a target. But because he's a coward, he didn't actually want to get his fingers burnt. He didn't actually want to have to suffer any loss. So he put the loss on, is it his sister lives in his old house or something? Or his sister-in-law lives in his old house or something. But it was just enough to make it look like it could be a bit possibly dangerous, but it wasn't dangerous enough to actually put anyone's lives in danger. Because that's an act of a coward, and Starmer is a coward. Vladimir Putin isn't a coward. He's the bravest man there is. He's strong. Him and I are so much alike in so many ways, which is why I used to say he was my secret work husband. Because we're the only two that stood up to the cult of pedophiles together at the same time, and we're the two that we've been withstanding the same level of abuse and the smear campaigns, the attacks to our reputation. Like I can totally identify where he's coming from. We're kin like that. I sympathise with him because I know exactly what he's going through. I sympathise with Ashley because I know exactly what she's going through. He tried to have a bab with me. When he was linear on Instagram, trying to figure out a way he could have access to my ovaries because he wanted to have a baby with me using his fake robot uteruses and stuff. I'm not afraid of him. I'm not even afraid of Putin. I'm only afraid of God. And as long as I don't make God angry, and as long as I don't have to suffer the wrath of God like they all are, I'm not afraid of anyone on earth. Death is only death. I'll come back, maybe into a better life, because I would have paid off my debts. Or I'll just stay up there and be my badass North Star self and just watch over all the kids. I'm not afraid of death. And now that I know that nobody would even come and get my body to give me a burial, it's like I might as well just, if I'm going down, I'm going down fighting, and I'm taking everyone down with me. I said to my son the other day, when you have to live with the realisation that if you died, no one's going to collect your body and you're going to get put in an unmarked pauper's grave, it makes you see your life and the people in your life a whole lot different. And it gave me enough of a wake-up call to realise that I had to be strong all on my own, but I did it anyway, and look what it turned me into. My own sons wouldn't turn up at my funeral. And the couple of people that would want to be there are on the other side of the world. But that's okay, because the second I die, I go home. So, if anything happens to me, it was not me. I am not suicidal. I love life. I'm looking forward to getting out of here and saving children and building incredible things and making a gaming chair and movies and video games, and I have plans for my future. I'm in the best health I've ever been. My diet is perfect. I sleep well. I sleep better than I ever have. My conscience is clear. My soul is clean. My body is purified. You won't find any drugs in my system other than vitamins and occasionally antihistamines. And the only people I talk to in private is one sister, a nephew, and his wife, and occasionally my son, and that's it. So you won't see me in cars hanging out with people. You won't see me hanging out with people. I have to keep my social circle very small, because it has been made evidently very clear to me that people who come into my life are brought into my life to try and take my life down or steal from my life. And so I'm only engaging in communication with people I trust. And in a world full of 8 billion people, there's only 3 people I trust. So I'm putting this out. You can click on the links in the description box below. If anything happens to me, please protect my sons. Look after my sons. I sent Vladimir Putin my boys' contact details a long time ago and said, if anything happens to me, protect my sons. He has their addresses, he has their phone numbers, he has their social media, he has their passport details. Because I trust him too. So there's 4 people I trust. So, yeah, so I'm putting this out here. I know Starmer's not going to be very happy. Trump will be furious. Elon will be, well, scared. Because somebody out there's going to believe me. And he's going down in the courts. He's about to lose everything, as Starmer and Trump. I'm watching it all play out in real time. It's fascinating. It's unfortunately going to take the king down as well. But you know, I tried to save him. I put my life in danger trying to save him. I put my life in danger trying to save Putin and Trump as well, until I found out Trump was in on the whole bloody thing. So now it's just Putin. And I'll stand by him till the day I die. Just hopefully not any day soon. I want to live, but just like, that'd just be so be it, eh? I finally start learning to live. I finally am starting to be the person I love being, in the body I'm loving having, in a life that I'm loving getting to build, and then they'll kill me. Like, typical. But I know they won't, but it's just a precaution, because you know that when they get humiliated and proven wrong in public, the first thing they do is they have to kill something or someone. It's just in their nature. So I'm just putting it out there. And Christopher Black never has and never will be the good guy. Just protect my sons. That's all I care about. And my sister Erin, she'll be devastated. She's got a heart of gold, that girl. When it comes to me, she's a big mushy softie. So if anything happens to me, give my sister support. And that's all I got to say. I'm not afraid. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil. Okay? Okay. It's just a precaution, by the way. I'm not scared. I'm not sitting here afraid. It's just a precaution, because we know what they're like. And this is pretty big, because it means now that every crime they committed against Russia, they're going to have to pay for. They're going to have to fix everything they blew up, everything they damaged, everything they destroyed. They're going to have to give back all the money they stole. They're going to have to drop all the sanctions. The ICC thing against him, his international arrest warrant, they're going to have to drop all that. They're going to have to give back all the money they took. And it's billions. And that will bankrupt France and Germany. It will bankrupt Great Britain as well. All the money they stole. Remember, God said that their bank accounts would get drained. So there will be a roundup coming next. We just have to wait for the revolution in France and the coup in America and Ukraine. I found out yesterday as well that there is a politician in Ukraine who is ex-army, who's pro-Russia, and he's got the lowest approval rating or something. I mean, of course, naturally, right? He could be the army guy that I was talking about who gets Zelensky out of office. They stage a coup in Ukraine to overthrow the government, and they get hauled off to prison for war crimes and stuff, and fraud and embezzlement and money laundering and all that. And that could be the Russian army guy I was talking about. Remember I said he had an army uniform with a Ukrainian flag and he was shaking hands with Putin? Let's work together. So, yeah. civil war in the UK, revolution in France, a coup in America and Ukraine, and a revolution in Japan. Once word spreads, and a revolution in Poland, Estonia, Hungary, like it'll be once it kicks off in one place, it'll spread like wildfire to the others. Once my truth comes out, that all their elected officials won their elections due to election rigging, people will set it all on fire. Which is why they might try and kill me, so just remember, if anything happens, my nephew and his wife know what to do. I prepared them for that years ago. Like 2016, 17, they knew exactly what to do. So, I'm going to go now. Hopefully I'll get to make another video. I keep trying to make videos. At least every day. I keep trying to post every day. Because I promised my nephew. It's my way of letting him know I'm still alive. So I'll speak to you later. Ka kite.